and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Hey everybody, Eric Bischoff here, and you are listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent. Stay tuned, listen to the podcast. Best one, Donnie, might teach you a thing or two.
What is going on, We Are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide? Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling Podcast.
If you ain't listened to the We Are Wrestling Podcast, bro, you're missing out. The king listens, and you need to too, bro.
Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself. The best one, Donnie, here with a live solo episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast this week. I'll explain why it's a solo episode this week, but before we get into it, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to this episode wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode and give us a follow. Helps with the algorithm. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel where we are live and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. We are live, so if you guys do want to interact and you are a part of the live episode, feel free to comment down below. We will be going through some of your guys' comments throughout this week's episode. Fortunately, Ben's not here because he is out in Ohio, catching up with some people, and Ricky knows best, believe it or not. Me and him recorded the episode yesterday, but we had some audio issues, so pretty much the audio was fully corrupted, and we couldn't upload it. So that's why I'm here doing a live episode solo, because you know what they say, the show must go on. Oh yeah, let's see who we got here. We got Dark Lightning Inferno 66. What's up? What is going on? Hope you're doing good. And yeah, see that? We're totally botching here. Forgot to cut the music there. Anything can happen when we're live. So pretty much this week we're gonna be just going with the flow. I already have the script from the show. Ricky and I, we really had some good discussions, and it's so unfortunate that you guys are not going to be able to hear it. You're not going to be able to listen to it, because the audio was corrupted, and that's why we are here live. But, what a week it has been, which I do have a pretty busy weekend ahead of me, because after I'm done doing this live episode, I'm actually going to be going to my buddy's house for a Halloween party. Haven't seen my buddies in a couple of months, so I am very excited about that. And then on Saturday, I'm actually going to be traveling to Long Island, New York for Creative Pro Wrestling, which I cannot wait for that event, because I get to meet the Wanted Man, Nick Nemeth, and I get to meet Dark Order member Alex Reynolds. So I am very excited for the event. I am looking forward to it. And looks like Dark Lightning Inferno 66 is looking forward to SmackDown tonight. Honestly, I am looking forward to the Motor City Machine Guns debut. I think it's going to be a good one. Like, these are two guys that busted their asses in the independent circuit, and they're finally getting the opportunity to show the world what they're made of. And they were so loyal to TNA Wrestling for so many years. So the fact that they're finally getting the opportunity after the likes of Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and even Eric Young, Bobby Roode, all these former TNA guys that got opportunities, I'm glad that Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley are getting those opportunities now. I am very happy, though, that they are going to the main roster and not starting in NXT. I think that they definitely need to go to the main roster. But what an episode we do have this week. It's going to be a stacked one. So I am just pulling up real quick my script because I am just all over the place. So I do apologize to you guys, like, for me being, like, everywhere here on this live episode. It would have been a lot different if Ben was here because Ben, like, he knows more of, like, the issues with the audio, and we probably could have figured something out. But Ben was away, and I did need Ricky Knows Best, and for some reason, with my setup, because I do have my back room there in my Best One studio, for some reason, like, my microphone just echoes every time, like, somebody's in that room recording, whether it's Ricky or Casual Cam. So there's been a lot of technical difficulties going on, which is why I have the interface now, and I'm still trying to learn a lot of things. But, hey, look at that. We got a new name for James. Instead of James Nation, it's James All Day. What's going on? Hope you're doing good. I'm curious to see what their entrance look like. Me too. I hope that it's good. Def Rebel better not mess around. But yeah, James, you be changing your name like freaking Mick Foley with all those gimmicks. Oh, man. What a freaking week it has been. But now, let's see what we have here on the script. Because the show must go on. You know what they say. And, hey, what is going on, Omar? Hope you are doing good. You did misspell We Are Wrestling. It's with the letter R. All right, well, we might as well start off with the Power of the Poll segment here. And every week, we recommend all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs to go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel community tab and vote on the Power of the Poll. It's a great way to get some good discussions in. And this week, for the Power of the Poll, we asked you guys, what TNA tag team is the best homegrown team? Which the Hardys do not count, Team 3D do not count. They had to be homegrown TNA tag teams. And the four options that you guys got to pick from were the Bad Influence, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian. You could have picked America's Most Wanted, the Wildcat Chris Harris, and the Cowboy James Storm, Beer Money, or the Motor City Machine Guns, who are going to be debuting on SmackDown tonight. So let's share the results. Here we go. And the results are 5% of you guys picked the Bad Influence, while 6% of you guys picked America's Most Wanted, 21% of you guys picked Beer Money, and with the win, Motor City Machine Gun, 68%. And I gotta say, I do agree with you guys. Motor City Machine Guns is one of my favorite all-time tag teams, so I really can't argue with the results here. But Beer Money, I felt like deserved a little bit more love, especially America's Most Wanted, which I know Ricky, in our recorded episode that's not airing, he did say he thinks America's Most Wanted is the best TNA tag team of all time. They carried it from 2002 to 2006. But, James All Day didn't vote because he thought it was too hard to pick those teams, which I agree, man. It's very difficult. And Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns, they're like two of my all-time favorite TNA tag teams, so it was very tough for me. But I did have to give it to the Motor City Machine Guns. But also, before we do close off the Power of the Poll, we are live also on our Facebook page, which We Are Wrestling this week gained 2,000 followers on Facebook. So thank you guys for going over to the Facebook page. And thank you to Maria Kanellis for that viral friggin' video that everybody seemed to enjoy. Which gave us that follow to 2,000. So thank you everybody for that. And if you're not followed over on the Facebook page or Instagram or X, highly recommend you guys to go over there because We Are Wrestling. We try to repost a lot of the wrestling news, the rumors going on. We also like to post a lot of videos from interviews and stuff, which recently we posted. The latest one we posted was Monty Brown that I guess Matt Hardy was saying the boys in TNA and Anthem were trying to get a hold of Monty Brown and try to have him get inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. But pretty much what happened was they just don't have any contact with him, unfortunately. But we're just trying to like do different things over on the social media pages. We're also posting clips of the podcast on there. So if you guys do want to go follow us over there, highly recommend it. But because we got 2,000 followers over on Facebook, the power of the poll is going to be a weekly thing over on the Facebook page as well. And we actually ended up posting this poll earlier in the week. So let's see if the results are different. Here we go. And the results are 3% of you guys picked The Bad Influence, while 6% of you picked America's Most Wanted. 68% chose Beer Money, while 23% of you guys picked the Motor City Machine Guns. And I think that this tells us how different our fans are from the Facebook page and our YouTube page. So seeing Beer Money get the win on Facebook makes things pretty interesting. So I think moving forward with the power of the poll, we're going to make it a Facebook and a YouTube thing. After this week's episode of the podcast, I am actually going to post the next power of the poll. So if you want to be a part of this segment and interact with us, highly recommend going to the community tab or going to Facebook and voting on the next power of the poll. We give you guys 1 week to vote. And James All Day just said, I will say Christopher Daniels, Kazarian were cool and entertaining, and they were supposed to be heels, but they always got cheered. Yeah, man, they were really good for its time. The only time that they got booed a lot, I think, was their feud with AJ Styles back in the day. And Donnie, did you hear about Liam Payne? I did, which there is like some things I do want to talk about before we move on to the highlight of the week. I do want to send my condolences to Liam Payne's friends and family during this time. I know he was a huge pro wrestling fan. Unfortunately, he passed away. I believe it was 2 days ago. And my heart does go out to everybody that is affected by that. And also, I want to send my love and my condolences to the people that were affected by the latest hurricane that just struck in Florida. I know a lot of homes got destroyed. I know people were injured. It was a really shitty event. So I really do want to send my condolences out to the people in Florida as well and the wrestling community because Ring of Honor guy, Joe Koff, he unfortunately passed away as well. So we do want to send our condolences out to everybody that's affected by that. And even earlier today, we got the news from Cora Jade with her dog too. So I do want to send my condolences out to her as well. It's just sad. Life's too short. You got to make the best of it. That's all you can really do. But now let's get into the We Are Wrestling highlight of the week. And this is where usually myself, Rage Circus, and Ricky Knows Best, we share our favorite thing that happened during the week in the pro wrestling world. So guys, if you want to be a part of this, comment down below your favorite segment this week in the wrestling world. It begins Friday Night SmackDown of last week to now. So what's got to be your favorite thing this week? And while you guys do comment that, I will share my favorite thing, my highlight of the week, and that has got to be the return of the greatest of all time, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, and of course, Adam Cole, baby. I really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, I still haven't watched the entire AEW Wrestle Dream card because I was away last weekend, so I never got the opportunity to really watch it. And I did watch the MJF and Adam Cole thing on social media, so I couldn't give you guys a genuine reaction. I feel like I'm really behind right now on wrestling. I did watch Monday Night Raw, which I did do reactions to that. And yeah, I think my highlight of the week's got to be MJF and Adam Cole. Them coming back, which I will dive into my opinion about that a little bit later into the show when we do get into the recaps, because I do have my opinion about the whole Adam Cole and MJF thing. So let's see what some of you guys picked here. Brian Cutler, Roxanne Perez is going to be a star when she gets called up. So I'm assuming that has got to be your highlight of the week. We have Alex Johnson here. My wrestling highlight of the week is Carlito crushing on Raquel Rodriguez. I'm not going to lie, I thought that was pretty funny. And I did hear there is some reports out there that I don't think this is 100% confirmed. It isn't a topic because this came out, I believe, earlier today. WWE does plan on kicking somebody out of the Judgment Day, and I think it might be Carlito. That's the rumor right now. We have football predictions with Riley and Tom and Leighton. Bryan Danielson retiring, thank God. So I'm assuming your highlight of the week was Jon Moxley winning the AEW World Championship, which we will be talking about pretty soon here on the show. We have Omar, Jimmy telling Roman they needed the help with Jey Uso. That was really good as well. And I think the way that they brought Jimmy Uso back, I was very nervous at first because it felt like they just kept pushing it back. But I feel like the timing is right here, and I really like that he didn't betray Roman Reigns. But also, Roxanne Perez, you think is ready to be called up? I think that she's ready to be called up. There's a lot of people in NXT that are ready to be called up, in my opinion. But honestly, guys, solid freaking highlight of the weeks. I really enjoyed doing that with you guys. So, now, with that being said, let's get into the We Are Wrestling Weekly Recap. This is where we pretty much talk about some of the biggest things that happened during the week in the wrestling world. And a lot of the stuff that we are going to be talking about is AEW Wrestle Dream, because a lot of crazy things did happen during that time. So, starting things off with our first We Are Wrestling Weekly Recap. At AEW Wrestle Dream, Jon Moxley defeated Bryan Danielson to win his 4th AEW World Championship. According to Fightful, it has been indicated that Bryan Danielson specifically wanted to lose to Jon Moxley to end his full-time run. What's my thoughts on Jon Moxley being the one to beat Danielson? Honestly, I am very happy with the booking decision here because I know a lot of people want Darby Allin to win the AEW World Championship, but I don't think the time is right now. And I think especially after some of the stuff that we got between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, I think Jon Moxley needs to go on this monster World Championship run and just beat everybody, take over AEW, and I think that they need to have Darby Allin be the one to win the championship during one of their big shows, which I think should happen internationally, whether it's the one in Australia or the Forbidden Door show that's going to be happening at Wembley or All In at the Dallas, I believe in the baseball stadium there. I think that's where Darby Allin needs to get that defining moment, because I think if they do it right with Darby Allin, I think that it could definitely bring in some more viewers with AEW. And I think that they need to have a homegrown talent holding that championship. Because if you look back with the ratings, MJF is the AEW World Champion. The ratings were fantastic. Having a homegrown guy that people can get behind, that is the way to go, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think that there's a lot that could be happening here. But we're just going to have to wait and see with Jon Moxley and the whole Darby Allin situation. Thank you, Bryan Danielson, for everything you did in the pro wrestling business. I know right now he has been going to the doctors to see what's next for his neck, because he did do some damage to it during his final run. And I guess he was working injured as well. So I am hoping that, Bryan Danielson is able to avoid surgery on the neck and just do stem cell treatment. That's a tongue twister right there. I would love to see, Bryan Danielson avoid surgery, because I know getting surgery on the neck is always not a good thing whatsoever. And we have a hot take here from Alex Johnson. Hot take: AEW should have the young trio titles dethroned. Hot take: AEW should have a young trios team dethroned Blackpool Combat Club. I thought you were talking about the Young Bucks there, which is why I pulled it up. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's got to be some homegrown guys. But I like right now, the controversy with Wheeler Yuta, because he still doesn't know what he wants to do. AEW does not need any more titles. Yeah, I definitely have to agree, but I think WWE needs to get some more titles, in my opinion. But moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling weekly recap for this week. At AEW Wrestle Dream, Takeshita defeated both Will Ospreay and Ricochet to become the AEW International Champion with the help of Kyle Fletcher, who turned on Will Ospreay. And let me tell you guys, Ricky Knows Best was not happy about this at all. He was fuming, and this is why I'm so mad that, our audio that we recorded yesterday got corrupted, because there were some really good things in that episode. There really was. So it's unfortunate, but I will say I'm very happy that AEW finally decided to give the championship to Takeshita, even though I feel like it is definitely a year too late, because I think last year he was coming off very hot after beating Kenny Omega not once, but twice at AEW All In and at All Out. That's when they should have really made the decision, okay, we need to put our poker chips on Takeshita and let's just push him. Because I think the Don Callis family should be on AEW TV regularly. They generate heat, and that is something that is very hard to do. Don Callis, I think, is a great wrestling personnel, and I think that he just knows how to get under the fan's skin, and we need more of that on AEW TV. We need more characters. We don't need more gymnastic people. We need more characters. But, yeah, I think that Takeshita winning the championship, finally something fresh. I do think Kyle Fletcher turning on Will Ospreay, definitely the right decision, because I do think that Kyle Fletcher does need to stand on his own, and I think Will Ospreay is holding him back. I will give a shout out to Ricky Knows Best on that take, because he did kind of sway me into my opinion. Kyle Fletcher has grown on me a lot, and his transformation has been incredible as well. And I just think overall, the Don Callis family just needs to be on TV more. And I think Takeshita winning the championship, not a bad move. And I hope that he does go on a nice long run, has really good title defenses. And he's somebody that I want AEW to put stock in, because he is that good. And I think Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, I think if you guys want to push Kyle Fletcher as a solos guy, you need to have Kyle Fletcher beat Will Ospreay at least one time to really solidify him. Similar to Bronson Reed with Seth Rollins. A lot of people don't understand why I think Bronson Reed needs to beat Seth Rollins once. He needs to, because we don't want him to lose credibility. Because a lot of the times when you turn somebody heel, they lose credibility because you have them put the other guy over. We saw it with Shinsuke Nakamura. He got this character change. A lot of people were enjoying the whole friggin' heel run with Shinsuke, with the captions on the promos he was doing, and people even wanted him to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I was one of them. But then he lost to Seth Rollins multiple times, and then look what he's doing now. He is the head of WWE catering because of that. So with Kyle Fletcher, I think that he is very talented, but if you want us to take him serious, you want us to take the Don Callis family serious, they need to pick up wins. And just like Solo Sikoa, I want to take him serious as the leader of the Bloodline, but he needs to pick up wins, which is why last Friday I was happy with him beating Jimmy Uso. I think it was the right booking decision, in my opinion. And we have Omar here, the whole Mox and his team beating superstars inside and outside the ring reminds me of the NWO back in the day. Definitely a Temu version of the NWO, but I do like what they're doing there. I always like invasion angles. Even back in the Attitude Era, when they did the whole WCW and ECW invading WWF back in 2001, I love that shit. A lot of people hated it. But we have here James All Day. Takeshita should have had him dethrone Orange Cassidy instead of Moxley. Well, Takeshita defeated both Ricochet and Will Ospreay, which I think was the right call. I just wish that he won the championship maybe last year against Orange Cassidy. I think that's what you're trying to say. But hey, we got Ricky Knows Best in here. As much as I don't want to agree with you, right. Which, Ricky, man, I do apologize for this week's episode being corrupted. I am so mad about it. That's why I'm here doing a solo live episode, because my audio was totally fucked up last week. Or not last week, yesterday. So I was trying to go into production and fix it, but I couldn't. So I just decided we need to go live. Ricky, you got to get us set up, man. You got to. Nakamura is in Japan wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah. That's pretty cool, man. But I got a DM here from Danny. Let me take a look here. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea, honestly. I will not share that at all yet, unless it actually does happen. But yeah, no, last year definitely I agree with you, James. Like, it should have happened last year with Takeshita. Because Takeshita is freaking somebody that I want AEW to put some stock in. He is a great talent. And I think having Don Callis as a mouthpiece, I could see Takeshita he could be a great international champion. And Ricky and I were talking about it on the episode that you guys are never going to be able to see. Friggin' the international championship, to me, is AEW's Intercontinental Championship, in my opinion. I think that's one thing. Like, everybody likes to talk shit about AEW, talk about the negatives, but nobody wants to call out the positives. And I'm going to call out one positive, and that is the AEW International Championship. I think that championship has been prestigious for about 90% of the time, ever since the title was a part of AEW. I think that championship has been a great thing for AEW, and I could say that the International Championship, to me, feels a little bit more prestigious than the Continental Championship. It feels more prestigious than the TNT title. And I think MJF has made the title great. I think Will Ospreay's made it great, especially Orange Cassidy. He made it great. Roddy, he could have been a little bit better, but I think Takeshita is definitely going to be making this championship great with all the matches that we're going to be able to see. And I thought they were going to put the rocket ship on Takeshita. Well, now they're putting the rocket ship on him. I just think it's a year too late. But I'm just happy that he actually won the championship, because he's somebody, in my opinion, that absolutely deserves it. I feel like I can't even think of one bad match Takeshita has had since being in AEW. He's somebody that every opportunity he was given, he's gone out there and he's made the best of it. He came out looking really strong last year during the All Out weekend, which is something that is very tough to do. We have Danny Huckins, my old co-host. What's going on? The TNT Championship went from the most prestigious title in AEW when Christian was the champ, just to a prop since Jack Perry has held it. I like the new scapegoat character with Jack Perry, but I do agree with you. Like, he does need to defend the title a little bit more, and I think that's not helping his run whatsoever. And we need to actually get some rivalry, some feuds. And I think that Jack Perry's title run is going to get a little bit better with a feud with Daniel Garcia, in my personal opinion. But moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling weekly recap, our last one for this week, because we do have a lot of news to cover on this live episode of the podcast, which I can't believe we have all these people here friggin' tuning in. This is absolutely crazy to me. This is all last minute. There is no schedule to this. So the fact that you guys have your post notifications turned on and you guys are joining me right now, I absolutely appreciate it. At AEW Wrestle Dream, we saw the return of MJF and Adam Cole, continuing their feud with MJF being the heel and Adam Cole being the face. And I do want to talk about my opinion on them continuing the feud. But before I do that, anybody that is here in the live chat, I want to know your opinion on the MJF and Adam Cole thing. Do you think they should have just let the feud end when MJF just kicked them right in the nuts? Or should they have just finished the story? And here's what I'm going to say. And we already got an answer. The feud is dead. So there's two ways to look at this, in my opinion. The first way, let's talk about them trying to finish the story. Because for me, I am somebody that I hate what ifs. I hate it. It makes things interesting. It makes things fun. But there's always what ifs when it comes to professional wrestling, which we will be having a what if series here on the We Are Wrestling channel. I think coming out in 2025. Not 100% confirmed yet. But man, everybody thinks that the feud is dead. And I agree. I think they should have just let it be. And it's unfortunate because Adam Cole, I think if he never got injured jumping off the stage at AEW Grand Slam last year, he would have been the perfect person to take the championship off of MJF. Love Samoa Joe, but Adam Cole should have been that guy, and I think they should have done it at AEW All In when they were main eventing instead of them freaking hugging and kissing. They should have picked the right time, and that would have been the best time to do it. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, Adam Cole, I'm tired of him flip-flopping back and forth and back and forth. Because I feel like every time when Adam Cole first shows up to AEW, the crowd's going nuts. He's a babyface. And then eventually he turns heel. And then a couple weeks after turning heel, he gets injured. He's back on the shelf. But then when he comes back, the people love Adam Cole so much, he has to be a babyface. And then the same thing happens again. They decide to have him turn heel when he's hurt. And now all of a sudden he's back because people are excited. So now they have to turn him babyface. MJF, we saw a babyface run for a little bit when he came back at AEW Double or Nothing, but then it just wasn't working out for him because he's just a certified asshole. That's why we love MJF. He's an asshole. And he goes back to being a heel. So I think the moment they decided to have MJF turn heel, that's when they should have just said, all right, Adam Cole versus MJF can't happen. I understand, though, they do have years worth to build, so they want to finish the story. I understand that. But I agree with all you guys here talking about the feud being dead. It really is, and it's unfortunate because MJF was sidelined. He was also filming movies. Adam Cole was sidelined with a serious injury for about a year. So, like, I totally get it. And we do have some big takes here from Danny, so let's share these here. What are your thoughts on the MJF and Adam Cole situation? Adam Cole was a heel and turned on MJF and cost him the AEW title, and now we have MJF running away from Adam Cole. Doesn't make sense, because at AEW Double or Nothing, MJF showed up and kicked Adam Cole right in the nuts. So now him running around, it's taking away from him. Like, they should have just let it be. They really should have. Like, I don't understand. I really don't. And, like, with Adam Cole, if you're going to have him turn babyface, turn heel, you can't just have him disappear and then he comes back and we forget what the hell he did. You can't do that. You need to have some contacts. You need to have some story involved. Like, we should have gotten maybe, like, Adam Cole, like, going into rehab. We should have gotten, like, what we got with Triple H back in 2002, something you and I love, Danny. The Attitude Era. Because we got to see what Triple H had to go through. And then he came back, he got a massive pop, and he was a babyface for a little while. That's what they should have done with Adam Cole if they wanted us to get involved here, if they were going to finish the story. And also, I assume the Undisputed Kingdom was a heel faction, but we have Adam Cole, who's now magically a babyface, telling Taven and Bennett that they can handle this alone, so they are now babyfaces. I don't understand what's going on with Taven, Bennett, and Roddy, because the last couple times, like when they went against the collaboration, they shook their hands after the match. After the match with Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, they shook their hands. So I do think that they are going babyface here. I don't mind Cole being a face and MJF being a heel, but we need explanation. That exactly right there is what I am trying to say here. We need explanation. MJF turning heel, like, it's all, we already know it made sense. But Adam Cole coming back without explanation and, like, having that redemption arc, like Adam Cole, like, maybe apologizing to MJF, or just, like, giving us some of that hardship that he had to go through during friggin' rehab. And then he also has a lot of personal things going on in his life. Bring that up, because sometimes bringing up the personal stuff, I know it shouldn't be our business, but sometimes that's the best shit in pro wrestling because it's real. And when it comes to pro wrestling, real is always the things that fans are invested in. Like with Matt Hardy and Edge back in 2005. That was one of the most real things, and a lot of people got invested in it. TK was Vince McMahon booking-wise. I do agree with that. Hey, what is going on, Dan? Yeah, it doesn't make sense what happened with him and the Undisputed Kingdom and Roderick Strong. It doesn't make sense at all, and, like, you can't just, like, be a freaking musician and say, Alakazam! Let's freaking pretend that. Let's try to make you guys forget what Adam Cole did to MJ. It's disappointing. In my opinion, they should have definitely just dropped it and moved forward. I just think that it was a huge missed opportunity on their behalf, and I think at the end of this, with MJF and Adam Cole, nobody is going to get further than the other person. And I think that these two, they're going to be stuck at AEW creatively for the remainder of the year. And hopefully they do bounce back from it, because I do want to see Adam Cole have a world championship run eventually. I want MJF to get back to that because that's when AEW was the most entertaining, in my opinion. But up next, we do have our We Are Wrestling comment of the week, and of course, the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. We will be right back with more We Are Wrestling podcast, episode 130. Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Gins, and the Load Rager Ben, are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. And we are back, guys, with more We Are Wrestling podcast. And every week, usually Ben does this, but right now, currently, he is away, enjoying himself, while I'm here having to do a live episode because my episode that was recorded with Ricky Knows Best yesterday got corrupted. This week, we have our We Are Wrestling comment of the week, and I do apologize for none of the cool music in the background. This is all live right now. And we do have 2 comment of the weeks this week because it does involve a certain video that was posted over on the We Are Wrestling Facebook page, which we are going to play the video, and I do want to get your guys' opinion as well. Since we're live, I do want to interact with you guys, so please watch this video, and I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm going to let you guys share your thoughts, and I'm going to read the 2 comment of the weeks because they do have opposite opinions here. So let me pull up the video here. Whoop, I don't need video file. Anything can happen live. Let's go to the Facebook here. Oh, I am on the script. Oh boy. We are having some technical difficulties, guys. I do apologize. Let's see here. Stop sharing. Let's see. Where can I get this? Ah, there we go. All right. There we go, guys. I do have the Facebook, and I gotta close all these messages. Don't need you guys seeing my personal business here. All right, so here we go, guys. So this week's comment of the week, we do have 2 winners here, and this is on a video with Rikishi pretty much throwing some shots at Vince Russo. So here we go.
Russo said, "I don't understand this. The dude was so emotional he could barely speak. I don't understand. This is a job. The title is a prop. For the life of me, I don't understand how these wrestlers get emotional over winning a prop. Jey Uso has been around forever. Quote."
Okay, well, let me answer that. And if you're listening, Russo, first of all, you can go
What's going on,
yourself.
Nate?
All right?
I'm glad that they beeped it, so I don't have to.
You don't have the right to even put my son's name in your mouth. You don't have a right to talk about somebody that has laced up boots for 17 plus years, broken bones, broken body bones, sweat, tear, and blood in that ring, sometimes 45 minutes. Ladders, chairs match, split wide open. You don't have a right to open your mouth of what you think is right for a person when you finally win this so-called prop
right
that you
that.
think. When was the first time, when did you ever get your ass in there and run a match 45 minutes? Anybody can pull up a pencil and write your fantasy.
Boy, there's one thing, though, I will say. Rikishi, I think, forgot that Vince Russo won the WCW championship when the company was going downhill.
Of what you think an angle is supposed to be.
Share your opinion down in the
But
comments.
when you talk
below.
about my boy, when you talk about you didn't understand, you got right, motherfucker. You didn't understand. So if you got a problem with my son, If you got a problem with him winning the strap, the so-called prop, what your ass call it, because that's what you do. You that damn computer gangster, the one that want to talk behind online.
I love this.
While you letting your fingers do the talking through your iPhone or whatever the case it may be. Hey man, step up. Step the up. Let's do this. You ain't even gonna have my boy there. Me and you, man. Me and you. So anytime you want to open your mouth about the Anawai Fatu clan and you try to disrespect what my boys or what my family has worked hard for 75 plus years, man. This kid here bust his ass for 16 years, man. So you would never know that hard grind, let alone not being home for his kids, you know, traveling one side of the world to the next side of the world to do what he's got to do. There has to be a purpose for something. What is it? What is it with you
gotta
trying to
believe in yourself.
like you just trying to knock those at a moment that means so much to a person that's well deserving. So I ain't hard to find, my man. You want to link up? You know where to find me. Keep my family's name out your mouth, especially my son.
Well, Rikishi coming in hot this week. So our 2 comment of the weeks, I am going to read these, and I do want to hear your guys' opinion about the Vince Russo and Rikishi situation here. So our 2 comment of the weeks, the first winner is JT, my buddy JT, Jose Torres, and he said, and I quote, Rikishi really about that, laughed my ass off. He ain't wrong. Russo criticizes wrestling when that's the only reason we know him from better. Be grateful for the business that made him. Also, our second comment of the week winner is Shane Listening. And by the way, these comments are on the We Are Wrestling Facebook page, which we did hit 2,000 followers over there. So thank you guys for that. Our next winner, Shane, said this. I would argue that Russo is entitled to feel that way. He has worked for years in the wrestling business and knows the sport well. Anyone thinks Rikishi's reaction is a little in character and defensive. And one guy even said, who cares? Greg Owens. So I do want to hear your guys' opinion down in the comment section below. But I will read some of them that are here right now. Alex Johnson, I agree with everything that Rikishi said. Danny says, I will say I'm behind Rikishi 100%. This is a longer clip than the one I originally saw. Well, when it comes to We Are Wrestling, we like to share the longer content because we don't want things to go out of context. So that's a reason to go follow We Are Wrestling over on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Even though with X it is a little difficult because we only have 140 characters to write things, but we still find a way to do it for you guys. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But, yeah, I think Rikishi absolutely squashed Vince Russo here. And look at Vince Russo ready to get the stink face in Rikishi's ass right there. What a freaking clown, in my opinion. Oh, man. So I will share my opinion on this while some of you guys are still writing your guys' opinions down in the comment section below. My opinion, Rikishi is absolutely not wrong here. And Ben and I, we have been getting really annoyed with Rikishi's takes on his podcast because it seems like all he's been doing is like coming at WWE Creative for not pushing Jey Uso, which I've been more like agreeing with Rikishi. But just seeing a lot of legends just talking all that shit about the current day product does get a little bit annoying to cover time after time. But Rikishi here really redeemed himself, in my opinion. Dude is the drizzling shit. Yes, he is. Vince Russo is the drizzling shit. Ha ha ha. Give him the old stink face. That is right. And Rikishi really did come in with a pike bomb. I do agree with you on that, Omar. But as I was saying, when it comes to Rikishi, like, that's the thing that people don't realize is that there's so much shit that goes into being a professional wrestler. You are putting your body on the line for our entertainment. You're away from your family. You're traveling. You're on the road. Back in the day, it was 300 days. Now it's about 150 to 200 days, but that's still a lot of days away from your wife, away from your kids, away from your husband. And Vince Russo, he doesn't know what goes into the business except being a creative writer, which you're not out there taking those bumps. You're not out there putting your body on the line for our entertainment. And what you did in WCW does not count because that was literally the drizzling shits when you were running it. And that's the thing about Vince Russo that I don't understand, and I have to agree with JT Jose on his comment here. Vince Russo, he goes on his freaking little Vince Russo show, and he criticizes the product. He talks about championships being props and everything scripted, this and that. But that's the thing. When it comes to sports, you work hard towards something. And Jey Uso, that dude worked hard to win his very first singles championship in the WWE. He was a tag team specialist with his brother Jimmy for over 14 years. And then during the Thunderdome, while Jimmy Uso was out, Jey Uso got the opportunity to become main event Jey. And he went out there and he proved to a lot of people that he is worth more than just being a tag team guy. And Jey Uso has had to go through it all in WWE, being a comedy act, friggin' having to put tag teams over. And now that the Bloodline is the hottest thing in wrestling, the fact that he was able to get over on his own speaks for itself, and he absolutely 1000% deserves to be emotional after winning this belt. Because Jey Uso, that's the thing, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Doesn't matter if it's scripted or not, because this is WWE rewarding Jey Uso for all the hard work that he put in. He got himself over doing the whole yeet thing. So Vince Russo needs to stop trying to take credit away where it's due, and he just continues to just shit on the product. And I just don't understand why this dude has subscribers, why this dude has a listening, a following, because if you don't enjoy the product, why the hell are you watching? That's right. Just for money. But, I don't know why he gets a lot of friggin' people talk about him and stuff. Danny says, Vince Russo only ever attended TV tapings. He wasn't even on the road full time. Exactly, because if you are a creative writer, your obligations are to go to Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. You're supposed to go to the televised shows and the pay-per-views. You do not have to go to the house shows. And the house shows, that's where you're really putting in the work because you're trying to craft your art. And yes, professional wrestling is scripted, but at the end of the day, these guys, they work hard. They're putting their bodies on the line for our pure entertainment. And one bad move can go seriously wrong. And I think Jey Uso, anybody that is in his position, been with the company for over 14 years, and he finally gets his first singles championship, absolutely 1000% deserves to be emotional over it. And I hope Rikishi freaking gives this dude the stink face when he sees him in person, because I am tired of Vince Russo. I think that people just need to just completely just write him off and stop even talking about the dude. It's easy to talk shit when you only work 1 day a week. Exactly. And we have Nate in here. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing good. Right. Just because it's scripted doesn't mean you don't have to work your ass off. You have to produce, work hard, draw, and stay relevant, and keep elevating yourself. Because if you don't, you won't get anything or notice to be able to get titles. Exactly. There's a lot that goes into it. And I'm not saying being a producer, being a writer is easy. I think it's a very difficult job. And I will give credit where it's due to Vince Russo during that time when he was in the Attitude Era and some of the things that he did in TNA. But he also had a lot of bad booking decisions, and some could even argue he's the reason why kayfabe isn't a thing anymore in wrestling. Dan says, agree with you, Donnie, and congrats on getting your shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. I appreciate that, man. Which I do want to say to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there, that was also another big thing that did happen this week. We Are Wrestling is officially on Pro Wrestling Tees now, one of the biggest wrestling merchandise websites in the world. So if you guys do want to go buy yourself a limited edition shirt, you can go over there now and get yourself one. We have 3 different shirts. We even have a podcast shirt that I don't even have yet. So if you guys do want to go support We Are Wrestling, you can go to Pro Wrestling Tees. This was something that has been in the works for about a couple of months, and really excited that I finally can make the announcement, which right now the links aren't down in the description below, but starting next week, they will be the first link down below. So if you guys want to go get yourself some We Are Wrestling swag, highly recommend it. He did way more harm than good. I absolutely agree with you 100. But congratulations to Shane and Jose on the comment of the week. If you guys want to get your comment featured on a future segment here and the We Are Wrestling comment of the week, all you got to do is just drop a comment over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel or our social media pages. We read all the comments, so if you guys want to be featured on it, give us a juicy comment that we could talk about. And don't worry, next week it won't be just me. Things are going to be a lot better next week's episode. So, with that being said now, let's get into the We Are Wrestling weekly not the recap. Whoa, we're totally botching here. So, with that being said, let's get into the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. And this is where we talk about all the juicy things going on with the dirt sheets, all the juicy things going on behind the scenes, and a lot of contract stuff, which we are going to start off with some contract drama. We have a huge TNA contract update on Jordynne Grace. According to Fightful, her TNA contract was originally set to expire in the summer of 2025, but she had admitted to expiring in January. And I will share my thoughts on this. I am not surprised whatsoever. Jordynne Grace, it's happening 1,000%. Once her contract is up, she is going to WWE. She's about to get a bag over there, and I think that she's going to be somebody that is going to win the WWE Women's Championship. And I think that she has the potential of being a main event star in the WWE Women's division. I think she is a perfect fit over there, and I think she's done everything she could in TNA. I will share Ricky's thoughts on this because Ricky did have some good points. Ricky doesn't want Jordynne Grace to leave to WWE because he feels like she has unfinished business over there, that she is the big star in the TNA knockouts right now, and he thinks if she leaves, a lot of other fans are not going to be paying attention to the stars like Zaya Brookside, Ash by Elegance, and other talented women. So with Jordynne Grace, a lot of people want her to go to WWE. I'm one of them. Ricky actually doesn't want her to go over there. He wants her to submit her TNA legacy similar to AJ Styles and some of those guys during day one. Because with the day one guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, they all had opportunities at one point to go to WWE and they chose not to. They wanted to stay in TNA and they built their resume up. But in my opinion, I think WWE should go after it, and I think that this whole TNA and WWE partnership thing, eventually, it's going to catch up. Right now, it's good for TNA because they're selling out shows and stuff. But eventually, when WWE gets Joe Hendry, once WWE gets Jordynne Grace, Alex Hammerstone, all of the names that they want over in TNA, they're going to end that working relationship. TNA is going to lose in the situation because you're already giving them that WWE exposure. You're giving them that WWE touch. And Joe Hendry has really benefited from it. Jordynne Grace especially has benefited from it. So why wouldn't they want to go to WWE? They're going to have more eyes on them. They're going to be getting paid a lot more money. And I just think that Jordynne Grace, she's somebody that is ready to go to WWE once that contract is up. And I'm surprised that it ain't sooner. But I do think that Jordynne Grace does have to put somebody over if she is going to leave. That has always been the rule for me. If you're a champion and you are leaving to go over to the competitor, you need to put over somebody that's young, in my opinion. Here we go. We do got some opinions here. Let's share some of these. Alex Johnson, prediction. Jordynne Grace shows up in the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble match. I could definitely see that, and I think she'll be a Final Four. Loved watching her at our local shows years ago. She is great. Fantastic. Somebody that definitely deserves all the success that she is getting. Danny Huckins, I wouldn't even have Jordynne Grace go to NXT. I would have her debut attacking Charlotte Flair, have her make a real big impact. I agree with you 1,000% because she already got the reactions that somebody that casuals know would get. So I think Jordynne Grace should definitely go right to the main roster. And I think that especially Triple H's era, especially talking about the history of these women and men, like Motor City Machine Guns tonight, I think that they're going to get a huge standing ovation because people know them. And I think Jordan Grace, people know because she's been kind of sprinkled in a little bit in WWE. I love that they've been opening the forbidden door a little bit to TNA. I love it too, but I just think long term it's not going to benefit TNA whatsoever. I hope they continue the working relationship after WWE gets guys like Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace, but I don't know. It's a little risky in my opinion. But TNA kind of needed it because they were kind of going downhill, and the rebuild so far with the brand new TNA has been very successful. And I think if Scott D'Amore was still there, it would be even bigger, which is unfortunate that he's not there. But moving on now to another We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. According to WrestleVotes, WWE is interested in bringing back AJ Lee. Should WWE bring her back? In my opinion, I think that she would definitely be great to have back. She was somebody that was very popular in the 2010s during a time where a lot of people weren't really paying attention to the women wrestlers. She was there right before the women's revolution began. And honestly, I could see her going into a similar role as Beth Phoenix, where like when Edge during his final WWE run, she was doing a lot of mixed tag matches with Edge. I could see AJ and CM Punk doing something like that a couple times. AJ Lee, I think, will be a part-timer. I don't see her ever coming back to being full-time. But she's also very successful outside of the pro wrestling business. She doesn't really do anything in the business. So who knows if she really does want to come back? I would love to see her back. But the thing that concerns me is during that time that she was in the WWE, around 2012, 2013, there was really barely any competition for her. And, like, how will she do with this stacked WWE women's roster? Because I think that WWE women's roster is the most stacked it's ever been. You got talented women all over the place, from Monday Night Raw to Friday Night SmackDown to NXT especially. So the thing that concerns me is, can AJ work with these bigger stars? Can AJ Lee work with a Charlotte Flair? Can she work with a friggin' Bayley? Can she work with Bianca Belair? Can she work with some of these names? Julia, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade. There's so many talented women wrestlers out there right now. And can she actually work with them? That's going to be the big question here when it comes to AJ Lee. In my opinion, I think that she is going to be just fine, but I see her being in more of like a Beth Phoenix role. And I think a lot of people expect her to come, win the world championship, and like be like a huge main event star in the WWE women's division. That I don't think is going to be the case. I think that she's just going to do it for closure. She's going to want to just end her career the right way. And if there's a time to do it, it's right now, because women's wrestling is so respected nowadays. But we do have some more comments here. Let me read these real quick before we move on to our next topic. Danny Huckins says, TNA has been selling tickets, but my issue with this partnership is no major NXT name has been on TNA TV, which really doesn't make WWE/NXT fans want to tune into the shows. I do agree with you, but there is a lot of people that are tuning into TNA because of the partnership with WWE regardless, because you never know. Yes, WWE has been able to get some of the TNA stars, but it has benefited TNA because having them going over to the WWE, like going over to WWE NXT, you're getting fans, you're showing fans what they have. So if you're somebody that's like very invested in a guy like Alex Hammerstone, you're going to want to say, holy shit, he's great. Let me go see what the hell he's doing over in TNA. So I do think that it is benefiting TNA, but it would benefit them a lot more if they were able to like have like some bigger WWE guys over there. And I think it is good for some of the younger WWE guys to go to TNA because it gives them that exposure, something different. I think AJ will make an appearance in this next Women's Royal Rumble. I could definitely see that happening for sure. Ooh, Alex Johnson going in here. Yes, because in one of the WWE Fanatic live streams with Liv and Dominic, Liv said she wants to have a mixed tag match between Punk and AJ versus Dom and Liv at SummerSlam in New Jersey in 2025. I would love that because I'm going to be out in New Jersey in 2025 for SummerSlam. I definitely am going to try to go out there. But, yes, that would be a great fucking mixed tag match in my opinion. And I would love to see that with AJ Lee. Danny Huckins says, I'm down for AJ Lee coming back, but I want to separate it from what Punk is doing because depending on who Punk is feuding with, if AJ got involved, it will automatically be one off because nobody. Honestly, you do make a valid point there. I can't even really argue that. It does need to make sense, and I feel like it would make sense if Punk does feud with Dirty Dom, because then you could actually do that mixed tag match, but it's all about timing, and I always say that on this podcast. Timing is everything in pro wrestling. Well, moving on now to our next TNA contract news. According to Fightful, Jonathan Gresham's TNA contract is set to expire in 2025. Gresham made good impressions with WWE in the past, but there's no confirmation or of interest on their side as of yet. What's my thoughts on this? Jonathan Gresham, he's a fantastic performer, but I really don't see him being a big star in the WWE. I think his ceiling is NXT North American Championship, and I think I'm going to just leave it as that. Jonathan Gresham, he's a great talent, but I feel like there's something missing with him. I do like the new gimmick that he's been doing and stuff, but I feel like he just doesn't have that connection with the fans. Fantastic performer, but there's just something missing there. Jonathan Gresham, I think, definitely could be a solid mid-card guy in NXT, but I could see him definitely going to WWE, especially because he is, I believe, married to Jordynne Grace, so I could definitely see that happening. But moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. According to the Wrestling Observer, WWE might be done with Peacock soon. It's far from a done deal, but within Peacock, there is the feeling that in early 2026, when the WWE streaming contract expires, that WWE will move everything to Netflix. And I think that this is not a surprise whatsoever. I think that it only makes sense that WWE moves everything over to they might as well move everything over to Netflix, especially now that Monday Night Raw is going to be on there live. You're going to be getting more fans over there. And come on, like, that's the one thing that a lot of casual people in this world are tired of, is subscribing to everything. And let me tell you, like, it friggin' adds up subscribing to Peacock, Netflix, Paramount Plus, all of these friggin' different streaming services. I even have YouTube TV. It all adds up. And now AEW is going to be on HBO Max. So that's another thing. So honestly, I hope WWE decides to move everything over to Netflix. It'll just make things easier. It'll be all in one place. And as long as the pay-per-views, the PLEs, don't cost me money and it's a subscription fee, I am totally cool with that, because that's something that AEW really needs to do, which I don't think they are going to be doing. And wasn't Gresham fired from AEW/Ring of Honor because he was criticizing Tony Khan? Yep. He does have a pretty big ego, but in TNA, he's kind of brought that ego down a little bit. So hopefully he could do that. I could see potentially seeing Jonathan Gresham show up in the 2005. Everybody, I guess, showing up in the Men's Royal Rumble. The Peacock contract was always set to expire in 2026, even before the Raw Netflix deal, so this is hardly news. Yeah, but with the Netflix rumors, it's still out there. Still got to cover it. I feel like I haven't really talked about it here on the show. But I will say, like, them going to Netflix, they should just move everything over there. And earlier today, actually, there was some reports as well, which I can share real quick. Let's see. Because I know, All right, real quick, guys. Let me just pull this up, because I know there was some news that did come out earlier as well. Speaking of, like, the whole Netflix deal. So I'm going to just do it on the phone. It's a lot easier than the computer. I do apologize, guys, for not having this stuff prepared. All the freaking issues going on here. And let's see. Let's go to the We Are Wrestling Facebook, because we did post a report earlier today on the social media when it does come to the whole, like, the whole Peacock and, like, Netflix thing. More Netflix. So here's the news here. So according to Bloomberg, WWE is set to debut a behind-the-scenes documentary series on Netflix. The new series is part of WWE's expanding partnership with Netflix. Nick Khan told the University of Southern California Next Level Sports Conference in Inglewood, California. So that's the thing. I feel like they should definitely be moving all their content over to Netflix. I think at the end of the day, it just benefits WWE by doing that. And Netflix is paying a lot of money, so I can't imagine how much money they're going to try to pay for WWE Network to go over there as well, because they got a lot of money just on that Monday Night Raw deal. But moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. According to Fightful, Jimmy Jacobs has left AEW. According to the reports internally, AEW is treating the move as a way to freshen up the product and the writing team. What's my thoughts on them letting go of Jimmy Jacobs? Well, first off, I want to know, whoever's in the live stream here, let me know your thoughts on the whole Jimmy Jacobs being released thing. And I will share my opinion while you guys do write your comments here that we'll talk about afterwards. I think that this is a great move. You need to freshen things up. You need a fresh start. And I think that Jimmy Jacobs, creatively, like, just his time is up. And I'm going to share the analogy because I'm a huge sports fan. And I'm going to try to tie in sports with Jimmy Jacobs and AEW letting him go. Every team out there, every organization, you have a direction you need to go in. And you can either compete for a championship, you can be a twiner where you don't know what you're doing, you're rebuilding and you're trying to compete, or you can go into a full rebuild mode and focus on the future. And I think AEW right now, they are sort of going down into a rebuild mode. And there's nothing wrong with going into that. You need to know what direction you're going in, and Jimmy Jacobs, he ran his course. It's just like a general manager and an owner. Sometimes you're just not on the same page because two parties want to go into a different direction. And I think that that's the case here because creatively, like, you need to have different people with different minds in the business because you can't just keep doing the same thing because eventually people are going to get sick of it. It's going to get repetitive. There's a reason why WCW shut down. And a lot of, like, the viewership went down in 1998 because they were very hot when they did the whole New World Order thing back at Bash in the Beach in 1996. But here was the problem with that. It was great, but then they just continued to try to do it, having the LWO, having the BWO, having all of these different NWOs, and then having even the Wolf Pack, and just trying to continue doing it. It was getting repetitive. It was getting old. WCW wasn't trying anything new. And I think with AEW, that's what they need to focus on, is trying to see what sticks, which is, I know AEW's been getting a lot of shit for that, like, because they are just out there right now literally throwing darts and seeing what works, what doesn't. But I think they're in that position where they have to do that because we need to see what's going to work and what's not going to work. I think that there's a lot more cons in AEW right now than pros. I will admit that. But I do think overall, though, like, when it's all set and done, I think that AEW letting go of Jimmy Jacobs was the right move. And I think that it's time to just listen to new people and to get new people involved. WWE, there's the reason why they're in the position that they're in right now, because through the years, they've had to change up the creative team. There's times where WWE had to go into a rebuild mode. There's times where WWE is competing and they're at the very top, which right now they are competing to be at the top. So I think just overall, like, AEW, they need to try something different because clearly with Jimmy Jacobs, it's just not working out. But I will share also too, and as of right now, this is according to Wrestle Purists, the following people responsible for writing and producing the storylines in AEW currently. So as of right now, these are the people that are writing the stuff with the current storylines. So the Blackpool Combat stuff with Jon Moxley, RJ City is writing that. Mariah May, RJ City is in charge of that. Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate, that is Will Washington. Mercedes and Statlander is Jen Pepperman, who also worked with Sasha Banks a lot in WWE. Will Ospreay, Don Callis family is Sanjay Dutt. Those are the people that are currently involved with the AEW storylines. And it just seems like, I know backstage, RJ City has been getting a lot of praise for the storyline that he put together with Toni Storm and Mariah May. A lot of people really enjoyed that a lot, so a lot of people backstage have been very impressed with RJ City, which is probably why he's like kind of getting into Jimmy Jacobs' position where he's going to be Tony Khan's right-hand man. Because right now, creatively, he's there. He knows what's going to work. And I think right now, the two storylines, like, man, RJ City's been doing a great job. But now let's share some of the comments here. Alex Johnson, I didn't even know that he was with AEW. Well, he was, man, and I believe Jericho had a lot to do with that because I know during Jericho's last WWE run, Jimmy Jacobs did help, like, he was writing all, like, Jericho segments, and I know he had a big part, like, he came up with the whole Festival of Friendships thing with Jericho and Kevin Owens. So with Jimmy Jacobs being gone, like, he's a good creative writer. Like, I do wish him nothing but the best. But I do think that, like, Tony Khan does need to find some new people and see what works, see what doesn't. And I think RJ City right now, like, pretty much, like, he's cooking. Just let him cook. And let's give him more creative power. Moving on now to our next We Are Wrestling Weekly Recap. We are going to try to fly through these because I am running out of time here. We have a huge update on Kevin Owens' WWE status. According to WrestleVotes, Owens is close to signing a new deal with WWE. What's my thoughts on this? I will say I really want Kevin Steen to come back, but I could understand Kevin Owens wanting to re-sign now because last week, my highlight of the week was Kevin Owens when he decided to turn on Cody Rhodes after Bad Blood went off the air and Triple H, instead of having WWE production do what they normally do and like they record everything, he relied on the fans to get that footage outside the arena of Kevin Owens turning on Cody. It was something different. I think if I were Kevin Owens, though, I would have waited until my contract was up to make the decision. That's one thing, like, I will say, though, I hate when wrestlers go back to their promotions. I am somebody that doesn't get mad when an AEW guy goes to WWE, and I do not get mad when a WWE guy leaves and they go to AEW. I love when things get spiced up. I love when changes happen. And with Kevin Owens, like, this is fresh. This is new. I really like it. But I just want I want Kevin Steen back because I think he could really benefit in AEW. He's somebody that I do think can draw some more viewers over to Dynamite. And I think that Kevin Owens is somebody that could work with a lot of people on the AEW roster. He has that relationship with the Young Bucks. Kevin Owens, I think, could definitely be a great AEW World Champion. Well, Kevin Steen, because a lot of the work that Kevin Steen did is great, and he just has that connection with the WWE universe. He has that connection. He knows how to connect with people. And that's something I feel like AEW is really missing right now. And I think Kevin Steen could be perfect for AEW and what they're doing. Tony Khan said a while ago that he has 27 people on his creative writing staff for AEW. Yeah, I know, but I don't know. Every time with the news, like, it always comes out with these same names. Sometimes it's hard to believe. But I just think overall, though, like, with Kevin Owens, I just want something different. And I really hope that Kevin Owens, like, can win himself the WWE Championship or the World Heavyweight title because he's somebody that absolutely deserves it, in my opinion. Kevin Steen versus Mox versus Kingston triple threat. My God, that'd be such a good match. There's so many great matches. Like, I would love to see Kevin Steen and MJF. Kevin Steen, Will Ospreay. Friggin' Kevin Steen and Ricochet. And let me tell you, Ricochet in AEW is a lot different than he was in friggin' WWE. I would love to see friggin' Kevin Steen and Okada. There's so many great things that could happen with Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen over in AEW. I like when things spice up. Like, I feel like people just going back, it's lame, but WWE, it makes sense for them to bring Kevin Owens back because he is one of their top guys over there, and don't fix something that's not broken. WWE, clearly, they love the roster that they have. That's why we're getting all these re-signings. Well, moving on now to our main... Oh, actually, nope. Scratch that. We do have one more topic before we do get into our main event topic for this week's episode. So on Busted Open Radio, TNA Wrestling announced that Rhino and Bob Ryder will be getting inducted into the 2024 TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame. TNA has confirmed former multi-time champion Rhino and company co-founder Bob Ryder will be inducted into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame. My thoughts are, I think that these two absolutely deserve it. And I love how prestigious the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame is because they only pick one or two people at a time, and they all make sense. And with Bound for Glory happening in Detroit, I love that Rhino's getting inducted in his hometown. I think that that's definitely the right call. He did win the NWA World Championship at Bound for Glory back in 2005. He's had a lot of marquee feuds, and at the end of the day, he's always come home to TNA, and Rhino has solidified himself as a TNA Hall of Famer, and especially Bob Ryder. He's somebody as well who did a lot behind the scenes for TNA Wrestling. So I think the fact that Bob Ryder is getting his flowers, I think that he absolutely deserves it, because I think that if Bob Ryder gave up on TNA, TNA would have definitely been out of business, 1,000%. But he was literally one of the few that really believed in it, and if it wasn't for Bob Ryder, TNA would not be what it is today. So I think the fact that Bob Ryder and Rhino are getting inducted into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame, I absolutely love that news. But please, TNA, can we get AJ Styles inducted soon? Because I really want to see the Phenomenal One. I would love to see the Phenomenal One. So now, let's now get into the main event topic for this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Next week, we will get back to the Getting Put Over segment. But for now, we are kind of running out of time, so I do want to talk about this main event topic. And last week, our main event topic was that there's rumors that there's going to be a triple threat match with The Rock, Roman, and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. And last Friday, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, as of right now, The Rock is not scheduled for WrestleMania 41. While that could change, one source said about a potential Rock versus Roman versus Cody match, he is not going to be able to do Mania. He's already gave word that he wouldn't be able to do that match. Another person who would be involved in the top of the card program said that they had no idea about anything. But during the week, a fan, which is why I love doing the podcast like on a Thursday or a Friday, because things do change all the time. A fan recently asked The Rock over on his Instagram page if the reports are true, and The Rock buried Dave Meltzer, and he said, "Don't believe any of the bullshit." And the question for the main event topic here, if you are still listening to here on the live episode, is, do you think The Rock works WrestleMania 41? And I think The Rock is going to be at Mania 41. I think he has already had this planned, because we've heard it from Triple H, we've heard it from Bruce Pritchard, we've heard it from the entire WWE creative team, that they are freaking ahead when it comes to creative. They're not doing last-minute bullshit like Vince McMahon did back in the day. They do have stuff planned out. And even Paul Heyman has said, with the Bloodline, we're only at the fourth inning. And if you do watch baseball, you know that there is 9 innings in a baseball game. So we are far from finished when it comes to the Bloodline stuff. And I think The Rock is definitely going to be there. There's no question about it, because he wouldn't have showed up at Bad Blood. He wouldn't have done that promo with Cody Rhodes the night after WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw if he wasn't going to be there. WWE has plans for The Rock. I could definitely see The Rock being involved. Maybe he's not going to be in the War Games match, but I could see him deciding the outcome of the match. I could see the Final Boss showing up at the Royal Rumble. Maybe that's where he goes against Cody Rhodes, because they did tease that. Also, Roman Reigns and The Rock. That has been rumored for years. And if there's a time to do it, it's right now with the Final Boss. And just like a Hollywood rule, The Rock is committed to the Final Boss character. And I think that The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania, because I think if he wasn't, he wouldn't have responded to this fan. And anytime The Rock does comment something on social media, usually 99% of the time, he actually means it. We have Nate in here. He thinks that The Rock will be there. Alex Johnson believes that it will be Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. There's going to be a build-up for The Rock versus Roman. So you see, with me, like, I've been still in the middle about a triple threat match because I could definitely see it being Roman versus Cody versus Rock, because that could be a way for The Rock to get himself involved here. I could definitely see Rock versus Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble, and Cody Rhodes beats The Rock, fair and square. Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns, he thinks that's the only way that he can go to WrestleMania and finally get the championship back. He thinks he finished family business. But in the Royal Rumble, you could have The Rock show up at number 30, cost Roman Reigns the match, and then The Rock gets a title shot at Mania. Roman finds a way to get in there. And, yep, I do hate the Final Boss title he gave himself. Like, you lost. You weren't that much of a Final Boss. I love everything about the Final Boss character. I think that this is one of the best versions of The Rock, in my personal opinion. But I will say this. I do think that whatever direction they go in, it is going to absolutely cook. I do want to see Cody versus Randy at WrestleMania. I want to see Roman versus Rock. But I am not against a triple threat match because I think low-key that match could actually cook. But The Rock, he is definitely showing up at WrestleMania. And I think that it's definitely a matter of time before he does come back to WWE TV. I could see him coming back to TV after Crown Jewel, or they just wait until Survivor Series and he helps his bloodline with Solo Sikoa and his group win the War Games match. I could see that happening too. Or hell, even The Rock will show up in War Games, but I don't see that happening. I like the ego, arrogant style, just calling himself the final boss. Nah. Absolutely, man. But wow, what a episode this week. Man, I do appreciate everybody that did join this live episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast. This was totally last minute. And I do apologize for the episode with Ricky just not being able to get uploaded due to the corrupted file. But everything's going to go back to normal next week. I believe Ben will be back. And we are going to figure out the Ricky situation and the whole microphone thing going on here. But, I will answer this one real quick. What if the WWE lets voters say, I will mark out if they let them use the TNA song? They should. Absolutely should. But a couple things before we close off. If you guys want to go support We Are Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees, we do have some new shirts up on there available now over on the Pro Wrestling Tees, one of our big announcements this week. Also, we want to thank all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs for 2,000 followers over on the Facebook page. If you guys want to go get wrestling news, you want to get clips from interviews and stuff, we're posting them over on Facebook, Instagram, X. You can go follow all the We Are Wrestling social media pages. All the links are down in the description below. I appreciate the love, Danny. I really do, man. I really do. But if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and you weren't a part of the live watch-along, or the live episode of this week's episode, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. Give us a follow, really helps with the algorithm. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already over on the YouTube channel, you never know when I'm going to fuck up and I'm going to have to do a live episode. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. Recommend you to hit that subscribe button now. Turn on those post notifications, because when I tell you videos be coming out of nowhere, they be coming out of nowhere. Links down in the description below. You can go follow me over on my social medias and over on my other YouTube channel, Best One Donnie, where I do toy videos and stuff. All the links down in the description below. But of course, and I almost forgot too, the Wrestling Classic, Saturday, November 16th in Springfield, Mass. We Are Wrestling. We are going to be there. If you guys want to meet Little Guido, former WWE Cruiserweight Champion Nuncio, he will be hanging out with the We Are Wrestling team. You guys can come hang out with us at the Wrestling Classic on Saturday, November 16th. It's going to be a stacked event. All the links down in the description below, but of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, especially the ones that were a part of this live episode without even being notified at all. This was completely last minute. We are taking over. I love each and every one of you guys. Next week, everything will be going back to normal. And take it easy, guys. Peace.